Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at One Piece 832 Germa Kingdom. Now, before getting into it, a few things to bear in mind. First of all, I want to apologise about how late this comes out. Because it comes out on a Wednesday, and because I now have a training commitment on a Wednesday, if we have an early release, especially for Bleach or One Piece, I will still be doing them. They'll just be later in the day. From a US point of view, it won't be as much of a difference because it'll be an evening thing. But for a UK thing, it's going to be 9-10 PM after training time. So apologies about that, first of all. Secondly, I want to say, these chapters, both Bleach and One Piece, as well as Seven Deadly Sins and Fairy Tail, have blown my mind. They've been amazing. I just can't have phantasming. I really can't. I'm trying to stay calm here. So, today, Bleach, One Piece. This video is One Piece, of course. I know Boku no Hero Academia is out, and I know that Black Clover is out. I will definitely be doing them tomorrow, so apologies for that. But they will be done, both of them, to schedule. World Trigger last week's chapter, I misunderstood. It came out, but I read the translation for Monday's release, and it talked about having a week off, so I assumed it was this week, the last week gone, and no, we're talking about this week. So basically, I'll be doing that as well at some point. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this review. So, the story, this chapter is a story of two halves. We'll start with the Luffy situation first, and then we'll move on to the juicy bits. Ooh. Anyway, so the Enchanted Forest is going crazy. What I liked about it, and what I found hilarious, is the fact they kept running around and they thought they were escaping, but they end up coming to the same place because the trees and everything else was moving. So although they thought they were jumping over things, all they really were doing was running around in circles. And there's a part where there's a rabbit called Randolph, who's an enemy. He throws a spear and it hits the giant in the head. And even though they keep running around, he's surprised every time. They don't take it out, and he was like, "Can you take it out now already?" It was just funny to me. I just thought it was kind of like a throwback to the old comedy cartoons. It made me giggle. Now, funny stuff out the way. The setup in this chapter for potential fights was brilliant. Okay, so we had this rabbit that is apparently not mean because he can't do electro. Was attacking them. Carrot jumped in. Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. It was like a bunny versus a rabbit, like a hare versus a rabbit type of thing, hair being a little bit bigger. I thought that was cool, and that fight will be awesome. I'm hoping it's either going to be Carrot or even Chopper can get involved. I do not mind. Maybe this guy is part of a crew. He's a rider. I always see riders in packs, so maybe there is something there, or maybe he's just on his own. Either way, sets up a good fight. We find out what the situation with Luffy is. We find out that it's not the rabbit that's doing this. There's somebody else. A Madam Burleigh, Charlotte Burleigh, the 8th daughter of Charlotte Lilin, who's an old hag, mind you. She was a copy Luffy. Luffy is separated from the pack now, so what's going to happen with him, I do not know. I will have to wait and see. And we know that the 8th daughter is involved, and she's been kind of doing the main thing. Maybe her abilities is to enchant and bring things to life, possibly. Now, she's got her hands on Nami, which I believe is going to be a brilliant setup fight, one-on-one for her, for Ged to kind of throw down and flex, I guess, with her new techniques and the climate tech, right? So that's looking potentially really good there. I enjoyed all of that. The spear thing with the giant was amazing. The fight setup's brilliant. I want to get that out of the way. Now, let's get on to the juicy bit. So, there's a few things that I want to talk about. First of all, Germa Kingdom. Germa Kingdom is a kingdom based of ships that connect together to make the island whole. This is why they haven't got a kingdom of their own, because they're always moving, which also explains why it was possible for Sanji to get about, because they're always on the sea. They literally are on the sea, which is why they've got all this technology that helps them deal with that. Because as you can imagine, if you think of the concept of a pirate not being able to swim because of the devil fruit, you would think he'd need something to overcome that, the German technology. Perfect, right? Now, that's the first thing we find out. So any nuances, anything about the German, anything about the Vinsmokes, I'm all ears. That was the first thing. Second thing is, It's a military based on men, mainly male soldiers. The German 66 is evil empire soldiers, and a lot of the time all they do is train, more than likely fight and conquer. Now, when they were doing that scene and they were showing that, I couldn't help but think of the academy at the Marines when Kobe and Helbepo were training. It made me think of that, just Marines, Vinsmoke, it just kind of resonated with me. Then we see Sanji and we see the return of Mrs. Zero, I don't know. That was cool. She tried, there was a sales pitch with him, and about talk about royalty. That was all cool. We get to see a bit of Sanji Love Hearts there, the perverted bastard that he is. But he held out for his friend. They called him puny, they called him, not having any money, not really having any influence, but he held out for them. They talk about pudding, and it seems like he's met at some point, but he held out. He doesn't want to get married to her. Brilliant. We've got confirmation of that. Then we see talk of his father. And I saw the picture of his father. I couldn't help but think of two people. Nekomamushi and the guy that was the jailer that used to cut people up, that now is on Blackbeard's crew. Chigure, I'm thinking his name is. The jailer, I can't remember his name right now, I apologize. But him, for some reason. Now, I was meant to be going, but I did say I was going to talk about theory. So hear me out now. We talk about misbooking, and we talk about Weeble Jr., Mini Whitebeard, right? And we thought of the idea of him potentially being... there's a theory out there about him being created by... on the back of Vegapunk's design, or maybe Dr. Hogback with one of the former Shibukai, Gecko Moria, a design by them. And then there's another theory out there that potentially that the idea behind Miss Booking's design is that she's a daughter of Charlene. Now, when I saw Madame Burley being the 8th daughter and being old, I thought that it could be conceivable that Booking is actually Charlotte Booking, one of the older daughters, like the 1st, 7th, one of them, and she's in fact working for Big Mom. Now, how does this tie into Weeble and his situation? Now, remember how I talked about the fact that Papa Vinsmoke reminded me a lot of Nekomamushi with his hair, right? Don't you think he reminds you of Weeble as well, or vice versa, because of the hair? Don't you think it could be quite possible that potentially he could be made on the back of Vinsmoke design and Vinsmoke training? And if you look at the picture of Papa Vinsmoke when he took over the Four Nation, the Four Nation coup, he had a type of sword like that, a kind of a long bladed sword, similar to Whitebeard, similar to Weeble Jr. Could it be quite conceivably possible that they cloned the father, in the view that if Sanji didn't come back, they had someone similar to him to carry on the fighting side of it, while one of the other ones took over in the background? I'm just thinking, quite possible, right? He's a big lad, similar fighting style, long hair, and for a Marine to talk about his strength, remember he talked about how strong he was, and he was like Whitebeard when he's young. What if that was in reality a kind of a ploy for them really to wanting to be talking about the Vinsmokes, but because the Vinsmokes are basically a shadow clan, or like ninjas basically, for him not to talk about him, he gave a more relatable example. Because it's like saying Kimura, he was a brilliant martial artist of Shikokai Karate, and a guy who's never heard of him is not going to be able to relate skill, technique, strength to a person like that. You talk about Muhammad Ali, who's a more world-renowned person, and you get that comparison. You think, oh my god, is he that good? Okay, it makes sense. I think that may be part of that ploy. So I think potentially Weeble Jr. is a type of creation, a clone, potentially a son of Vinsmoke, and Booking a daughter of Charlotte Lilin, and that combination is another way to show the combination of Vinsmoke, Charlotte Lilin, Big Mom. What do you guys think? Quick theory at the end. Thank you very much for all those that watch my videos. Thank you very much for those that comment, especially for those that subscribe. Please continue to show your support. I'll see you next time. Peace.